In the night I hear them talk, the coldest story ever told. Someone fall along his road, he lost his soul to a world so heartless, heartless, heartless. Ah, how could you be so heartless? Ah, how could you be so heartless, 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 heartfelt, heartless? Whoa! In the night, I hear them talk, the coldest story ever told. Someone falling on his road, he lost his soul to him so heartless, heartless, heartless in a heartbeat. Heartless, 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 heartless. ASMR time. Heartless, heartless, heartless. Alright! I just want to make a video to my wives, potential lovers, during movies, courtship, dating, friendships, relationships, or God knows what. This is supposed to be a video where I'm talking normal stuff, not yelling like this, like I am right now, yelling and stuff. And I open it up with the single, but like the purpose of like a video like this would be like talking for 10 hours straight. Mea Omnia, Arnold. Very boring videos and stuff. I'm not saying that I should be making these videos, and I'm not saying that anybody should be watching this. So stop watching this video. It's like I think about this, like honestly, like I think about this stuff, and I think about being crazy and not crazy, and the pros and the cons and stuff, and especially have been thinking about talking about this kind of stuff, because I do talk about this kind of stuff sometimes. At least I used to do it more when I was younger, especially during Bible college, especially the first one. I hopped on an airplane for the first time in 2004, right after graduating high school. Flew from Oregon over to New York for Bible college. Went to the school for 2 years. Went to the Word of Life Bible Institute. They call it the Bridal Institute. It's a joke, inside joke. A lot of people, they find their future lover there. I started saying things, especially during my college years in New York and West Virginia. I would say like I'm single or something. I would say I'm trying to find my future wife. Maybe I'll find it here. The way that I said it, you would probably have to be there to understand, but I used to make it a big deal, and think like let me try to get into my character. I want to say the word character. I'm trying to figure out how to do this video. I wanted to just kind of speak from the top of my head a few points, not everything. I probably need some kind of log for keeping track of the stuff that I think about in regards to this. I don't want to become the meme. I mean, the person who is like the NPC, the person who's like making the same videos again and again. Not to say that my videos are completely the same, but sometimes you can get into this like loop, whether it's a video loop or a mental loop. Part of me feels like I made some of these videos before, but maybe not in this exact way. I think about how I would want to date, and I guess I've gone back and forth with how I would want to do it. And part of my thinking about it, about what I would want to do, is I feel like I just want to like expose myself in a way so that a potential lover could have the opportunity to reject me, knowing the worst parts of me. Not to say that's an excuse or anything else, but it kind of is, but it isn't. But it's kind of like how I see the world. I'm not saying that, like, I'm not saying like, whoa, look at this. I don't like the way that I look, and I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong, and I'm especially not saying that I'm right about this, but that's kind of how I feel. Like, I feel like I want to be able to, like, walk my potential other through, like, my entire life kind of thing, and be like, this is who I am, good and bad. This is I think, like, this is kind of normal, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of people can be pretty dishonest about things, and that becomes understandable. It becomes acceptable to not talk about things, and it's almost like it's expected and it's acceptable that you don't tell the other person everything, especially because you're gonna scare them away. And I've probably scared people away. And there's been times where people have liked me and I've kind of known that or didn't know that. But it's kind of like, it's kind of crazy. Like, life is kind of crazy because you get so stuck in all the stuff that you're doing. Like, I think people like me are the kind of people that could end up not being in relationships because they're always, like, so driven with the stuff that they're doing. Like, you have people, whether they're actors or artists or writers or all kinds of people, can get caught up with the projects they're working on, the traveling and the work and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that I'm the coolest guy in the world. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to say, even though I like myself and I like other people in general, it's like I have a thing for myself and for other people. It's like I'm call that whatever you want, but it's like I'm not trying to say, even though I might be trying to say, but I'm really trying to tell you that I'm not trying to say that I'm the coolest guy, even though I may think I'm, like, very cool and stuff. You know, I talk about that. I'm all into myself. Call it cocky, whatever. Call it whatever you want. Arrogant, ignorant, a whole lot of stuff. I could be like LeBron James. I could be all into myself and stuff. You know, I could be all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of a good, confident thing. It could be a good vibe to have, but it could be a very terrible thing to have when you're just, like, thinking about yourself all the time. And I don't actually think about myself in a way, but I try to emphasize on, like, I don't think I'm perfect. I don't think I'm flawless, even though I may be out and about publishing content online for so many years, and I'm, like, always, like, doing stuff, and that doesn't mean that I'm happy about it, but it's like I do it, and I want people to know who I am, so that they can decide whether or not they want to be a part of my life, whether that means being my friend, being my lover, or anything at all. This is not just, like, for potential lovers, even though, you know, I think about that sometimes, but then again, I do and I don't, because I'm always going back between working on stuff that I talk about. Like, I just want to work on some stuff, working on some projects before I get lost in that kind of world, and I feel like I want to get some things done before I get lost in those things. And I feel like I don't know how to manage my time. I don't know how many times I've said this in videos, but I feel like I've been in those situations where I don't know how to really balance my time between my work and my relationships with people, or, with people in general, not just lovers, potential lovers, or whatever they are. Because sometimes you don't know what they are, and sometimes you think you know, but it doesn't matter because there's the way that you see people and the way that they see you, and it's not always the same. So it's like you have to think through that, or maybe not think about it, but it could, like thinking about it could cause other problems too if you think about it too much or something. And I have problems with thinking about things a little bit too much sometimes, but at the same time there's value in that. So it's like you gotta know when to step away once you've done enough for something, when you thought about something, or you've been able to analyze something well enough, or there's always going to be a limitation, regardless of whether or not there's more there or not. Sometimes you really got to have the discipline to move on, and I think about that. And I wanted to, I wanted to make this video, and I wanted to dump my thoughts out as plain and simple as possible, and as direct as possible, even though some of it comes across as repetitive. And I like to sing a little bit. I like trying to be funny or sing. I like to say stuff that I like, and I do that kind of thing sometimes. And when I'm making a video, I wanna do that. I really want to do that, and I do that. It's like I just sprinkle in stuff that I like, and not all of it that I do I like, but I still upload stuff like that, stuff that I like, stuff that I don't like. But in doing so, when I'm doing stuff like that, when I'm just entertaining or thinking that I'm entertaining, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm entertaining myself. If I'm watching the video, I might feel entertained. I'm not for all the videos, but sometimes I find some of it entertaining a little bit. And when I'm entertaining, I may be a little bit sidetracked from the main goal of what I'm trying to do, of trying to dump out my ideas. Like if I'm making a video like this, I need to be more direct, and just kind of talk and not get carried away with trying to be entertaining or whatever. And I really want people to understand, but understand me in a way, even though it's it's not really a mystery in a lot of ways. I mean, it can be, I guess. So there's a little bit of both things happening at the same time. It's it's really hard to know what to say to people because you don't know what the other people know. And I've always found that to be very difficult. So the heart of the matter of this video is about what do you do when you're getting to know somebody, and how do you determine whether or not they should be a part of your life or not. And for the most part, it's not up to you. It's more of a collaboration of two souls coming together and deciding to work it out. And I think that's a good admirable thing. And two people need to be on the same path. A lot of times they're not, and people do things like long distance relationships on the internet. They do that kind of stuff. They just fall in love without understanding whether or not they're both on the same path, the same page. And I think that's pretty destructive. But they'll do whatever it takes to try to make it work, even though they may not be compatible. The other one may not be the one, as they say. And it's very heartbreaking that people will make that the focus, even though it's really up to them what they do, but I'm saying that it's better if you find somebody who is your soulmate. Not to say that it's like one person, as they say, it's like doesn't really matter in a way, or there may not be the one. There's these ones that are potential ones, and those are many and not one, and I think that's good. But there's a lot of factors and stuff, and I think that there's a part of me, at least I could say, there's a part of me that would want to bore my wife to death. Not to death, but you know what I mean. Like, I would want to make myself look better. Okay, like I'm moving the camera right now because I don't like the way that I look. Well, I'm always thinking about myself. No, I'm not always thinking about myself. I'm thinking about spreading information and stuff so that people can make better choices, decisions in life. And I think that's good. I think that I would say to my wife, I'm a terrible guy. You know, this thing, that thing, you gotta know this, you gotta know that. A lot of this, like, I talk about online. Like, I really do publish myself, and I continue to reveal, like, almost everything, and maybe potentially everything. I'm still working on that, but it's like, I strongly believe in stuff, but at the same time, I try to say stuff like that I'm open-minded about stuff, and I think one of the things that I need to do is start some kind of love log. Not to say that I haven't had one in the past. Yeah, I make videos, and I blog, I write articles for so many years. So I've done it. I've talked about this stuff before, but I have not. I'm not made it a priority to keep something that I will be going back to every so often. I mean, I do have a lot of different logs open on my computer right now. I keep a daily blog. It's like a diary. It's like a journal, and I want people to know if they want to know. Not to say that you need to know. Not to say that it's worthwhile. Some of it might be a little bit better than other things. I just keep a little diary post for each day, and I publish it at the end of the day, and I syndicate the blog, and that's the main focus of the things that I'm gonna do, that I've been doing for several years, 5 years or so now, and not so much before that, a little bit less before that. I've tried in the past, but I'm doing it every day now for the past like 4 or 5 years, since like 2019, and you know, I believe in that. Even if I'm wrong, even if I'm crazy about that or anything else, I do that, and I do, all this other stuff. I have those blog posts that I publish every day, and then I have some logs. A log post is a little bit different in that it will be chronological. It will have dates, and kind of like a diary in a sense, and it will be focused on a particular topic, and then it'll have the dates for the entries of when I'm writing about something of that particular topic, whether it's a topic about like food or video, or let's talk about science, let's talk about religion, let's talk about any of these very general topics. I'll have them. I have all these different topics and categories and things, and I keep them in the logs in a notepad on my computer. I don't really have one about love. Maybe I did. I don't have one up right now, I don't think. So I think that's very important. I think I could probably write a list of things that I care about in a woman. I think people do that. I probably could do it. I've done it a little bit in the past. Like, oh, what do I want in a potential lover and a potential wife? And I think sometimes people get lost in doing that, and it could be very destructive, even though it's good to know. Especially if you don't know, then it's like, then you may end up with the wrong kind of person if you don't really know. If you're spending time with the wrong kind of people, that could be a problem. But the better thing you can do is trying to become the kind of person that would attract them to you. That's the better thing. I'm not saying that I'm doing that. Maybe I should be doing that. If I'm not doing that, I should be. If I'm not doing that, I should be doing that. You know, if you're really trying to, like, you're going fishing, you're trying to, like, you don't really have the bait, but it's like, it's not really fishing. That's a bad analogy, you know, but because, like, you guys should both be fishing for each other kind of thing. But I didn't really want to go through all of this right now, even though I could. But I just wanted to bring up a couple different random points, even though it's probably better if I just write it down, and I'll go back to writing some of this stuff down like I've done before. And I think there's value in that, and I'm not gonna say anything about like trying to make something happen, even though it's something that, like, I've always wanted to be married since I don't know how old I was. Probably the first person I wanted to marry was Tiffany Cumbo, and I might have been like about 10. This was back in 95, and that might have been the first time I thought about that kind of thing, was back then in 95. And I've liked people sometimes, occasionally, and I don't have a problem with, like, falling in love, so to speak, with people, whether it's love or lust or real love, agape, whatever it might be, any combinations therein. I could have, and I sometimes have, these feelings, whether it's intellectual, and you know, it could be emotional, it could be intellectual, it could be spiritual, it could be physical, it could be social, it could be any combination of those things and other things, whatever it could be. It might be, it may not be, who knows. Like, I go back and forth with what it is, what it isn't, and I won't know, even if I think I know. I've made so many mistakes. I think, maybe not terrible mistakes, but mistakes are mistakes, or whether they're intentional or not, it's really tough to summarize. 30 years, 40 years, you know, thinking about this stuff, doing stuff, living life, being around a lot of people, and not taking care of relationships and friendships, or whatever it might have been, whatever that I might be guilty of. It's true that I've felt really, like, overwhelmed in life, and or busy, or just, like, preoccupied. And you could say, well, you still are. Maybe I am, but still, I just want you to know that I'm aware of my shortcomings in life, in like, always on the go, always, like, thinking about stuff that I'm doing. I'm always, like, I was always really, like, in my head. I'm less in my head at times. Like, I understand how to how to like how to keep on moving the camera because I don't like the way that I look. I gotta literally look at the screen, look at myself, because once I look away, I come back and this is what happens. I come back and this is what I see. What, you know, it's like literally this is what I see. You see this? You see this? Nothing. It's like, where's your face? It's like the camera gets too close, and I think that's a good analogy. Unintentionally, that's a good analogy for how life is. You get too close to a relationship, friendship, it can become too personal. I think that's a powerful thing that I've learned. I probably have scared people away, or I've not really invested in opportunities and relationships that were potential or whatever. It's possible that I've missed out on friendships, and especially with a potential soulmate, or you know, a series of soulmates or whatever. Yeah, it might have been like I always go back to one of the examples. It might be the biggest example. I don't know what would be the biggest example. I think about this stuff sometimes, and I'm not saying that I should be or shouldn't be, but I go back to, you know, I go back, I come back to thinking about some of these people, some of these things. One of the people that I think about when I'm thinking about this stuff, because I don't think about it every day, but I do go back to it. One of them was Amber. I remember her from Crowley. It was the second time I was there, 2008, and I could be wrong, but it's almost like there was something, some kind of friendship between me and her. If she's watching, I don't know, but it's like I'm not really trying to find her, even though I'm curious, because I'm curious about people in general, because I'm really really into like psychology, anthropology, sociology, all that kind of science stuff, you know. I'm not looking at the camera on purpose, by the way. Oatmeal Joey Arnold. I'm filming this on the... Probably should have done this at the beginning of the video. 30 minutes into the video, let me tell you what day it is. 14th of January 2023, Saturday, 8:09 p.m. PST. LMSGSA, the most banned oatmeal in the world. Oatmeal Joey Arnold, right here, talking about a little bit of love and stuff. I don't know how long I should do this video, but I think about people, and I think about stuff, and it's happened, like for me, it's happened where looking back, I feel like some girls were interested in me, possibly, at least, you know, looking back, I can see that. Maybe reading into some of it, but some of it, it may be true that it happened, that they were interested in me, and I didn't really pursue it, perhaps, and maybe I was wrong about it, maybe I was right about it, but it's kind of interesting, because like if you were to like imagine hypothetically, like if you go back in time, would you do things differently? Would you change the outcome? I think it's like it's difficult, but in some ways I'd probably try harder to stay in contact with people, but it's not like I don't try to stay in contact with people. It's like I do try to I don't like the way I look. I really don't like this. I can't do these videos because I don't like the way that I look. I'm terrified. I don't want to upload this video, but it's like I really don't, because I don't like. I probably need to shave my beard or something, and then to put the camera in a different position because this does not work. And that's how I feel. Like I'm way big, like a really big, like way too particular. I'm way too like I'm just like so into like I'm just like I'm a perfectionist. I'm not happy, but even though I'm not happy, I still like I put myself out there in my videos, in my writings and everything. I put it out there even though I'm not happy about it. It's like I'm doing that. I probably learned the hard way about a lot of things, including that perhaps, or maybe I'm totally wrong about that, off base about that, but it's like I think about these people, but I wasn't always keeping contact, like keeping in contact. I wasn't always doing that. Not to say that I wasn't trying, because like I was trying, but knowing what I know now, I probably would have done it better in a way. But not to say, I mean, I guess it's like going back in time, doing that stuff. It's like you rob yourself of the opportunity to become a better person if you go back in time. I don't even know how that works, because like, would you still remember being in the future and then going back in time, and how is that even fair for everybody else who's not allowed to go back in time, or is everybody allowed to? And does that delete your memories of the past or the future? I mean, like when you do that and you change things, and it's like if you forget the future because you go back in time and then you change things, then it's like, does that really count? The person that you were in the future before you went back in time, is like, it's not even you, because if you can't remember it, then was it even you? It's like, did a tree make a sound if it falls in a forest and nobody's there to hear it? If you're not there to remember it, then did it really happen? Because you can't remember it. If you were to travel back in time and change things because you regret some of the stuff that you did in the past or whatever, it's like, would you do that? And it's kind of fun to talk about. People like to talk about, it's like changing things and going back in time and doing this stuff. And I was just watching that movie earlier, an hour ago. I was watching a few minutes of that, 13 Going on 30, starring Jennifer Gardner, and she's kind of attractive, and I didn't really realize that at the time when it came out in 2004. And she was talking to her parents, and well, she's saying she was asking her mother, would you go back and change things? And she said, oh yeah, I made mistakes, but if I didn't make them, I wouldn't know how to like how to like overcome, and I wouldn't become the person that I am. And so it's like, if you go back in time and do things differently, the butterfly effect, you wouldn't be who you are. I know this is kind of like an excuse to do wrong in order to become a better person for the greater good, but it's like there's a lot of truth in that. And so it's kind of like you have to hit and miss. And I didn't always stay in contact with people because I was always busy, and I'm probably wrong in a lot of ways. And sometimes I'm trying too hard to stay in contact with too many people, and part of the problem is I'm trying to stay in contact with everybody, and perhaps I'm trying too hard. And you really gotta pick and choose. You really gotta be like, okay, let's focus on the top 10. Not to say that I didn't, like, because sometimes I would, but it's like it's difficult. It could be very difficult. And I've not dated, not really. I mean, there was one time in Vietnam, but that I always say that doesn't really count. 10 years ago, 2013, around this time, almost this time, it's almost like I was dating for a month, but not really. I don't see it as that, but that was the one time where I was in in a situation like that I was in back in 2013 in Vietnam. But outside of that, it's like I've been intentionally single, and even though it's like I know a lot of people and there's a lot of opportunities, I stay away because I don't want to get lost in all this crap, all this stuff that can happen, all this stuff that happens to people, and I try to stay focused on my career, or I call it my career, and I believe in that stuff, but call it whatever you want. But it's like I really get lost in all that stuff, and I really wanted to know where I was gonna be before I try to bring a girl into it, kind of thing. Like, I felt like I was pretty lost in some ways. Not to say that I'm lost in other ways, but it's like I've not really made a definite choice on what kind of person I would be exactly, or where I would live, the kind of things that I would do for work, for a career. I mean, I might be getting closer now, and I would say that I definitely would say that over the years, especially the past few years after coming back to America in 2017 from Vietnam, I've been becoming myself in a lot of ways, and there is truth to that a little bit, and it's good. There's potential. I'm improving in a lot of ways. Not to say that I wasn't before at the same time, too, but it's like, I'm not supposed to be. I'm not supposed to say but I'm still saying But then I let myself say because I feel like it's kind of good to say but I really like it. But it's like I'm changing. I was like, I'm letting myself say but I'm aware of that, and I'm not there yet completely. Perhaps I feel like I really want, like, what I want. I'm not saying that I'm right about this, but one of the things that I would want is to have some kind of persona. Not to say that I don't already have a persona or something online. I mean, like, a bigger following, a more established one, where people understood who I am, what I do, kind of thing. Like, here's this oatmeal guy on the internet. He does this thing, he does that thing. He has these videos, he has these articles, he has these memes, he has these websites, he has this, and this, and this, and this, and that. This is what he did, this is who he is. Right or wrong, whether you like it or not, this is what he said, this is what he did, yada yada. Here's his Wikipedia. Here's his fandom. Here's his TikTok. Here's his YouTube. Here's his Facebook. Here's his Twitter. His name is Oatmeal Joey Arnold. He was born in Oregon. He went to school in some places after he was homeschooled. He played the basketball, and he did this thing in his life, and he did that thing, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and he was here in this place, and then he went to that place, and he did this thing, and then he did that thing, and he was in Hawaii, and he was in Vietnam, and he was in Idaho, and he was in Quebec, and he was in California, and he was in South Carolina, and he was in New York, and he was in Canada, and he was in Oregon, and he was in Washington State, he was in this state and that state in America. He stopped by Japan for a second, that doesn't really count. Cambodia. He went to these places, he did these things. Nothing really comprehensive or anything, but it's like the idea is I want something established enough, and you could say, well, you already got some of that. I would say it's not good enough, but see, my problem is I feel like my cover story of who I am is not well understood. I've taken some time to talk about it. I've written some articles about it, trying to highlight some of it, but I feel like it's not good enough. That's one of the things that bother me. It's one of the things. Sometimes it doesn't bother me a lot, but it's like sometimes it does, and a lot of things do bother me sometimes. Not to say that it's like, not to say that it's gonna stop me or get me down and take me to the ground kind of thing, because it is what it is. But I think about that kind of stuff, and so I probably could have stayed in contact with a few girls that were interested in me at times and tried to date them on the phone or something. Not to say that I didn't, because a few times I did, but then those didn't work out. Or maybe they did work out, but I scared them away. And there's times where I will stay away, or I will scare people away. And that is something that I'm likely to do again because I want to. Not that I should, but what I mean is I'm like crazy honest. Not to say that I should be. It's like honesty is really good, but it scares people and stuff, and people are not really into it in a sense because they're told that they shouldn't because it's not good, or it's just like it's crazy, and it's like I've done a lot of crazy stuff, perhaps. At least that's what some people might say. And I don't necessarily disagree. Perhaps I don't disagree. But it's like, it's easy to look at stuff from my life and be like, I don't want anything to do with that oatmeal guy. So, I was thinking about this. Another thing I was thinking about is I was looking at the wife of InfoWars, Alex Jones, and I think it's great that he has a family. And so sometimes I think if he can do it, I can do it. Because, like, there's a difference between a normal person who's just like, they get in a relationship and they marry and they start a family and they lay low and they live a normal life, and it's like a lot of people are like that. I have not really been like that in some ways. Not to say that I'm a celebrity, because I'm not really a celebrity in a lot of ways. Not a lot of people know me at the moment, at least, but I've not really wanted to, not to say that I don't see the value and I like it in a lot of ways, but I've dreamed of, like, my fantasy is being famous as much as possible so that I'm able to influence people. And I'm not saying that I'm right about that. I have to say, I really want to say that I'm not saying that I'm right about that, but I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from. And I've been like that since I was about 8. That's when I started thinking about it. I was thinking about being the next Michael Jordan, the next Michael Jackson, the next Billy Graham, the next this and that. I thought about these different people that I would see. This was back in '93. I started thinking about about that kind of thing of living a life where I have a career, I have a ministry, where I'm always like reaching out to people and helping people and influencing people with some kind of mobile platform that has wheels and balloons so that people can see me from far off. And I think I was basically describing the internet without knowing the internet, because I didn't really know a lot about the internet at that time. But is the camera moving, or am I moving? I don't know. But it's like sometimes I feel like the camera is blurry. That's unfortunate. But it's like in life you're gonna be blurry and stuff. And so I would love to have somebody like that would go with me wherever that I was going in life, and have the same kind of vision that I have, kind of thing, and that would be great. Now, are there people like that that are compatible and would be interested in dating me? There might be. I've not really taken the time to do that, because I feel like I don't have time. I might have said a few times that I need to make time to date. There's some hesitation, mostly because I'm just so preoccupied with so many things, and I barely have time to sleep. Literally, barely have time for a whole lot of stuff, and I'm juggling so many things. So I find all that to be very daunting. I'm behind schedule. I make schedules for myself, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna get this project done by this time, or by the next month, or a few months, or this year, or that year, and I end up so far behind, and it's devastating. And then thinking that I would date on top of that, I don't know how would I make that work. But it's like I probably should, but I haven't really done that. But I feel like I'm a jerk in some ways. I'm crazy in a lot of ways. There's a whole lot of things you could say that a girl wouldn't like. I could probably come up with things that I think girls would like about me. I'm not here to talk about that right now, even though I want to talk about that. But it's like I understand how people could feel, because I've heard some of it in the past, and I'm not the kind of person that's going to be like, okay, I'm not going to do some of those things. I mean, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do some of those things, but some of those things, I'm going to do, or might do, I might still do. Like, girls want to be, they want to, like, a lot of them want to have families, they want to have babies. They want to raise children, so do I, but they want to feel secure, they want to be safe. I cannot really promise that, at least not in the moment, and that's one of the reasons why I tend to stay away, because I cannot really give them what they desire, what they want. A lot of times it's not there. Like, it's really not there, at least not in the moment. And maybe I believe in a lot of crazy stuff too, like with politics, or just like fundamental understandings of the universe. I may have ideas, or how I look at the world may be a little bit different than what they think, what they believe, how they feel. And that is another hurdle that would be difficult to cross or to ignore. A lot of times people can just like not talk about some issues, and then they run into a conflict several years into the marriage. Uh, can you tell that I watch a lot of stuff on Molyneux? Other people too, but it's like I try to take notes, and I'm not saying that I'm some perfect student who's like so good in philosophy. It's like I'm probably messed up in so many ways, but at the same time, I'm not saying that I'm messed up. But you may think that I am. I don't honestly try to be like messed up and screwed up and stuff. Like I try to improve in life and get better, but at the same time, I believe that
that humanity is broken as a whole, not to say that I'm the only weirdo, because it's like we're all weirdos, we're all kind of retarded, and so it's like, what's the difference between me and my problems and you and your problems? Not to excuse them away, but it's like there's something to be said. This is a video where I said a couple things for almost an hour, and I think about, like, I don't know how many people did I name today. Sometimes I name drop people, and I think about, like, people who have liked me. I may know some of them who has liked me, but the reason why I say them, I talk about them, the reason why I talk about them is because part of me feels like I betrayed them, or I let them down, or something. I'm not saying that I did, but sometimes, like, looking back, I can look at, like, I remember at the time when I was at ABC, and I was talking to I would have to say I'm talking to Sarah Cole, and it's possible she might have liked me, and I could be wrong, or something. Not to say that I didn't like her back, but there might have been something more there, or like potentially, like, because I would sometimes flirt with her, maybe other people too, and that's kind of like the thing that I started doing. I think I started doing it especially in high school, and then after that I started doing it more and more and more, and like my confidence in talking to people and talking to girls started growing a lot in high school, more so than like before high school. I started public high school in 2000. I was 15. I turned 15 in February of 2000. I was homeschooled. I wanted to go to high school, so I went to high school. I was still pretty shy, but then I started talking more and more to people and coming out of my bubble, and I would just like flirt with people and play and just hang out with everybody all the time, and as I got older, I was doing it more and more and more, and so it's like I was doing it more and more and more, and it's like I really love people a lot, and I just wanted to just party, and like when I say party, I just mean like I just want to like I like having fun. It's just like joking around with people, normal stuff, and I would do that. But sometimes there may have been times when like people, like girls, thought like something was going on, like maybe we're more than friends, but more so it's more like the other way around. And normally for a guy, it's like the guy thinks the girl likes him when really they don't, and then the girl will say, oh, we're just friends, and that has happened to me more times than the other way around. Not to say that it has happened the other way around, but it's possible that it has. And I'm saying that, like, I don't know if I talked about this specifically before, but and perhaps you might say you shouldn't name drop, you shouldn't talk about this, you shouldn't talk about that, you shouldn't say this person, that person, this place, this thing. But I did, and I do, and I want to, and it's like that's another hurdle that my wife would have to get over, or not, but because I believe in like being so public with my life. Not saying that I would tell you what my password is for like for everything, and breaking like. I actually do believe in privacy and keeping things private and stuff. But at the same time, like, I do publish a lot of stuff. I do put a lot of stuff out there. And a lot of people could be angry at me or whatever, and be like, well, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. But I did, and I do, and I don't plan on stopping in a lot of ways. Not to say that I won't specifically stop talking about, or that I won't talk about some things sometimes, but to a large degree, I'm gonna talk about some things if I feel like I want to, if I feel like if it's relevant. I'm a little bit different than Jordan Peterson in that regard. He's a little bit more nice than I am. I'd be more like, like especially with my autobiography, not that it's important. I'm not saying that it's important, but I feel like it's important to me, so I put it out there because I feel like it can definitely help people. Not to say that it helps people, but I feel like it helps people, whatever that means. You know what I'm saying? So I talk about stuff, and I think about things that I think about. Think about Sarah, but then I was thinking about, there was who was the next person. Well, I already talked about Amber. What's her last name? Not the other Amber. There's a couple different Ambers. Not Briggs. The other one. The one at Crotley. I don't remember her name. So I would go and see how she's doing. Sometimes I feel a little guilty if I know somebody and there was something there, or I wanted something to be there, then there's a part of me that wants them to be all right before I move on. Not to say that we were like in a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend, because we weren't, because I don't do that stuff. Maybe I shoulda, woulda, coulda, but like I didn't. But I still, like, I have these feelings sometimes, even though I may not be in a relationship with them. It's like I know them, and I think about them. Like, there were times, I don't know how retarded I might sound when I'm talking about this kind of stuff, but it's like when I think about the girls that I've known in my life, I look at them and I'm like, sometimes I want to look at them and I want to see, I want to check in. I want to like go on their Facebook or something, find them, stalk them, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Like, find them, see that they're doing all right. Hopefully, like I actually do want to see that they're married or something, because then I could be like, okay, it's okay, because they're taken care of. I hope, and it wasn't me, but it's okay. Not to say that that's always the case, because sometimes it could be like you feel like you should have been the one for that person, kind of thing. And I cannot say exactly if that is true or not. I can't say. I'm at this moment, I can't say. I mean, in the past, I've had different thoughts on the matter, because I was going through a lot of stuff over the past 30, 40 years. Oh, well, not 40 yet. So, but you know what I'm trying to say. But I keep track of my life. There's a lot of people who would not want to be with me because I write it all down. Like, I write about my life. I talk about my life in videos, and a lot of people have the mentality of, well, the past is in the past, so you forget about it and you don't write it down. You don't keep it. People will literally just throw stuff away. They will burn it. They will get rid of some stuff. and perhaps you should, but I don't believe in that. Even if I should, I don't, and I haven't. I try not to for a lot of reasons, and I feel like it's valuable, and I'm not gonna do it. And so a lot of girls would not like that and not want to be with me because of that. I could probably make a list of things that would turn people away. I don't know if that would be valuable. I don't know if that would benefit anybody. Except for me, because I'm curious. I'm very curious. And once I start something, I want to finish it. That's another problem. Another problem that I have. That's why I try to set the bar low when I'm thinking about stuff that I want to do, projects and stuff. And I'm like, okay, let's try to make it as simple as possible and as easy to do. You could say, oh, you must be a very lazy person. No, I'm not. It's just that I'm so dedicated. I'm so committed. That's my weakness in a lot of ways that it really tears me up inside because I don't want to like stop. And that's good that I'm pig-headed like Trump. I'm like, I don't want to stop even if I'm wrong about whatever that I'm thinking, whatever that I'm doing, whatever it is. And so I try to alter that a little bit, step by step, day by day, so that I can better manage and balance some of that as I try to navigate through my life. And I think that the biggest thing that I can do is just become a better man so that perhaps if the stars align, I could get with a girl when the time's right. But then again, I don't know. I don't know exactly how people feel about that. And I'm not saying like people who are outside of my bubble, not to say that I have a bubble, but like maybe I had a bubble. Maybe I had a bunch of different bubbles in my life, like groups of friends and family who knew me. But it's like, I don't know how many people really, really know me or knew me for a very, very long time. I mean, it's kind of like people know me from the outside looking in, but not on the inside, like my inner circle. And I wonder what the perspective would be for people looking at my life from really close in people who have studied my life, whether they were there for every step of the way or not. What would their reaction be? What would their perspective be? Because I know what the people on the outside would say, because people on the outside are everywhere and they react to these kinds of situations all the time. And so there's a wide variety of things, good and bad, that you will hear in the feedback. If you ask around if you ask people how they feel about this, like if you ask for advice, relationship advice and stuff, people will say what they say, and you probably heard them say what they say, and they would probably say the same thing to me. Whatever you've heard people say about relationship advice and stuff, and what do you think, and about what should you do, or how do you feel about this guy? There's a guy on the internet, Oatmeal Joey Arnold. What do you think? What do you think about him? How do you feel? And and if you were to ask them how they felt about me, you would get a wide variety of responses, of course, but those responses would be most likely very generic and predictable. Not to say that it shouldn't be. I'm just saying that I think I know what they would be. I'm not here to really talk about that. I really don't want to. I really don't want to talk about that right now. Just wanted to say that I have the tendency of scaring people, boring people to death, scaring people away, and so on and so forth. And so I know that. So going forward in life, what would I do in some kind of potential opportunity to date? Would I do things differently? Of course, I always do things differently in a lot of ways, but because I'm always evolving, always changing, but there's still an underlying current of key philosophy and principles of stuff that I believe in, and stuff, and that will still guide me in what I do and everything, and all of that stuff is very important, and I try to stay true to myself, even if I'm dead wrong about some of it. But I'm always like trying to evolve and learn. But I strongly believe in making videos and articles and memes and all this stuff that I've been doing. Perhaps do a better job, and at all those things, everything that I do, I try to do better all the time. And then try to organize everything that I got better and better, so that people know what I got. Not to say that people have to like me, but to at least have a front page for people to be like, okay, that's what he is, that's what he thinks about this and this, that's how he feels about this and this and that. This is who he is, it's what he says. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of times I feel like all of it got all mixed up, like the stuff that I've said, the stuff that I've done over the past 30, 40 years online. It just gets all over the place, and then it becomes very difficult to understand and to sort out. Like, it becomes so difficult to sort out. And so one of my goals that I work on is trying to organize the stuff so that people understand what is what and everything else, so that people can make better informed decisions about me and everything else. And then it's not just about me, but that is a starting point for the most part. I want to do that, that's why I spend so much time working on that and other stuff. I work on all this stuff, do all this other stuff, and where's my face? There's my face, and I believe in that, and so I do that stuff. But it's like, I believe that starting with myself, working on myself, and then talking about myself, writing about myself, doing an autobiography, doing an autobiography is a starting point. It's a springboard. It's a lot of things, and a lot of girls would probably be scared away from that, from me, because that's crazy, man. That's crazy. It's like, oh my God, do I wanna go out with Oatmeal? He got no money. He lives with his parents. He's almost 40 years old. He's gonna turn 38 in a month, and like, he got no job, he got no money, he got no this, he got no that. Doesn't drive, doesn't do this, doesn't do that. He does all this crazy stuff on the internet. He won't stop. Like, it's really easy to make a really long list of things and be like, I don't want anything to do with this person, because look at this guy, Oatmeal Joe Arnold. He likes Alex Jones, Kanye West, Donald Trump, Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, and a bunch of other people too. It's like, how could you ever get along with a person who believes in the freedom of speech, private property, all that kind of crap, all that kind of stuff, all that good stuff? Why would you want to be with guy who likes to scream and sing and party and talk about stuff till the cows come home. Not to say that I would do this in real life, unless, I mean, I guess I would do it if I was making a video, but outside of a video, I don't actually really talk a lot, or I used to, but I don't. Like, I feel like I might as well just save it for a video kind of thing. Like, I mean, I guess there's room for private conversations too, but it's like, I like making videos and stuff, and I will continue to do that. And if I were to have a life partner, that would be it's kind of like Peter Pan finding Wendy. It would be interesting. To live would be an awfully big adventure. That's basically the meat and the potatoes of all of it. In the night, I hear them talk the coldest story ever told. Somewhere far along this road, he lost his soul to a woman so heartless.